So first, thank you for letting me do this with you. And first, how are you? How are you arriving today?
I'm a little anxious, a little unsettled, I would say.
Okay. What makes you feel that way?
So I just had a introductory session with a creative consultant who I am considering working with to develop some of the copy for my website.
Mhm.
And she was really challenging me in how I present my coaching offerings and what my offerings were. And it really has had me second guess some of the things that I'm doing. And it just makes me feel a little bit unprepared, I guess.
Okay. And for today, for this session, what would you like to work on? Around something around that?
Yeah, I think I would like to work on that and like really getting to the heart of what that is about.
And what do you think can be a good outcome about exploring this issue about your copy and your website? By the end of the session, what do you think would you like to get?
I would like to feel more confident about moving forward in that direction.
I'm going to be taking some notes to help me to guide the conversation.
Mhm.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. And how will you know that you're more confident?
Perhaps not feeling anxious would be one.
Okay.
And have a little bit more clarity in my mind about what I'm doing.
And Scott, what makes this important to you? What makes having that clarity and lowering the anxiety? What's important for you?
This is going to be my livelihood, so it's really critical for me that this, be very authentic to who I am and speak very clearly to the clients that I'm going to be working with.
Great. Where do you think it's a good place to start exploring this?
Um, Maybe with the anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's going on?
So I'm feeling anxious because the creative consultant she asked me to tell my story, which I did, and she listens to the story and was asking questions. And as I'm telling her my story, she's asking me if are you going to be having an offering about that? Are you going to be having an offering about that versus this being, my backstory to introduce myself to people? And I guess I hadn't necessarily thought about having specific offerings around some of my life experiences. For example, I about 10 years ago tried drag for the first time, and it was a really transformative experience. And it expressed parts of myself that were repressed. And I use drag in workshops and I help other men to express themselves. And, that has opened up a lot in my life over a long period of time. And I hadn't necessarily thought about having a coaching offering centered around that. And so I guess it's having me think about, I don't know what that would be right now. And I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that right now. So yeah, I think that's where some of the anxiety is coming from, is suddenly having me feel like I'm not ready when I was feeling ready.
Well, what I'm hearing, you may not be ready to do that specific
Yes.
offering, but that doesn't mean you're not ready for the other work you want to do.
Yes, that's true. I feel like I am ready to offer coaching. I may not be ready to offer some of these specific modalities that I think would be wonderful. I would love to explore, but I'm not there yet.
What else is going on now I was wondering when I was listening to you if this person, she was familiar with coaching.
She is. She's actually been through your program.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
maybe all red, say, okay, I hope she's doing a good job, whatever she's doing. Doesn't maybe I feel responsible now in some way.
No.
I am still responsible. Somebody is making you feel anxious, Yeah. Yeah. What else is going on for you?
I think there's a divide, I think, coming up between what, and I'm not sure which direction to go in. Like I like coaching, and I like coaching around helping people find their passion and go through transitions in work and maybe step out of their corporate lives and or transition within their corporate environment. And then there's this whole other part of me that leads retreats and does drag workshops and performs and is a massage therapist and lots of other things. And I'm not quite sure how to if I should bring that together and how to, I suppose, is where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. So before that was not your awareness, that was not something you were thinking. You were just focusing on coaching in organizations and corporations, not these parts. And this person provoked you to consider other possibility that brought you anxiety.
Yes.
And what I was wondering is, what is the difference between the two?
I think the difference in the two is with the first one, I bring those things with me for sure. I tell my story. I'm very vulnerable when I work with people, but I'm not offering those as a modality. I'm not offering somebody for example, a drag experience to tap into themselves and find out what's really in their heart, even though that was my journey. And it could be a modality. That's not what I'm currently offering.
So then when I'm hearing you, what I am sensing is that there is a part of you that is comfortable selling coaching services in general.
Mm-hmm.
And this new possibility, that kind of something new or different, you feel less confident, and that provokes some anxiety around that because you're not sure, or because it's new, because it was a suggestion from somebody. She was inviting you to consider doing that, and that is not something that it was in your awareness as a possibility, and that make you feel less confident. Is that a good summary?
Less confident and a little bit confronted as well with how would I do that if I were to do it? Because it's not such an easy thing to do. I've done it at retreat centers who have all of those suppliers. I'm not a clothing store. I don't have something in everyone's size to just,
But it's also, Scott, a kind of introduction. When you introduce yourself, are you going to be introducing you as a coach with expertise in this area, where you may do coaching and workshops and a little bit of mentoring or consulting, or and do you want that to be your way, your kind of introduction? When you introduce to people as a coach, it's going to be that your niche that you want to focus on. And I'm wondering, I have a hypothesis here. So that was seeing what is your hypothesis and the difference in the two. And the other one is more general, and it's more open to anybody who want to work with your services.
Yes.
It's less oriented in this niche. So the question is, if having this niche can affect the other services in some way.
Yeah, that's in my mind. Is like, if I pigeonhole myself too much into this niche, is it going to be less attractive to the more corporate environment, which tends to be a little bit more conservative, than if I go after the more general focus, but bring those elements to it when I feel it's appropriate.
Yeah. So what do you think would take to deal with this anxiety? Like, if let's work with the metaphors. Do you like working with metaphors?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So if you think about this anxiety as a metaphor, how you can select an object or something that will represent the anxiety? What come up for you? Like, don't think about something. What object or
I think what comes into my head is a haystack.
what is a haystack?
Like little pieces of straw, dried
Okay.
grass.
Okay. Okay.
And I think of that because it's I'm experiencing like too many things, too many offerings is what I'm experiencing.
Like what I'm hearing too much is like a little bit overwhelmed, but all of that.
Yes. Yeah.
So what do you want to do with it?
I'd like, what I want is to be able to characterize what I do and what I bring very concisely and very clearly. That's my objective.
Okay. And if you look at like we're using the metaphor, and this object represents this anxiety, what do you want to do with it now?
Well, maybe get rid of the pieces I don't need and hang on to the bits I do.
Okay. It's a great metaphor. And in your situation, what are the pieces that you don't need now? You may need it in the future, but right now, what are the pieces that you don't need now?
Yeah, I think the retreat work, I don't need to market my coaching. I don't need drag workshop offerings to do what I'm going to do right now. Those would be things I don't feel like I currently need.
Okay. So you let that go and you put it on the side and you focus now on what you want to keep. What is in there?
I think like really coaching from the heart, like coaching and listening. My coaching business is called Hearts Alive. I listened for people's hearts. I listened for people's passion. And that's really been my journey. I've listened to my own heart and I followed my own passion. And those are some of my passions.
And it's inspiring. It's inspiring. When I listen to you, that inspires me. I think, okay. I think it may inspire some people too, wanted to have a coach like focus on that and introduce yourself like that.
Yeah, so I think having it expressed that way, like these are some of my passions versus these are some of my offerings, feels better to me at the moment.
That is a good point. It's at the moment right now. In the future, you may include other things, but now you focus on what makes you feel more confident. This is what you want to accomplish in the conversation today. And also that give you less anxiety because you know that you are bringing yourself, your passion, and what you already have in place.
Yeah.
So we need to start wrapping up. What are you present to?
I'm present to having some clarity, actually. I do. I feel like that's very true for me. I want to stick to my brand, which is Hearts Alive, coaching from the heart, listening to people's hearts, and sharing my passions, sharing the things that I do and have done to get to where I am.
Great. Sounds a good strategy. So to implement that, anything in particular that you would like to do after this conversation?
I want to write it down before I forget what I just said.
Well, you have the recording.
That's true, I do. Yeah. And then I also will share that with the creative consultant as well, so that we can move in that direction, rather than spending a lot of time exploring things that I'm not currently ready to do.
Okay. Great. Anything else?
Just that I feel confident in that. I feel confident in that's a good direction for me right now. And I feel ready to do that right now.
Great. Anything that can be in your way to do that?
Sure. Like I can imagine when I get the proposal from the creative consultant, there'll be lots of like great ideas and things that, my mind's like, oh, that's good. But it could take me off track, and that might not be so helpful in the beginning.
So it sounds that the conversation may help you when you get the proposal to approach the proposal from a different space.
Yes. Yeah.
Any support you need to make all of this happen?
I think, when I start working with them, because I do plan to work with them, I think checking in with some of my contacts, like Will Fisher, who because he knows me very well and he knows all of me, to make sure that this website does speak to that. Yeah.
It's interesting that you mentioned him because he had been in my mind since you started talking about it. I thought, oh, it's going to talk to Will, so great you mentioned that.
Yeah.
It's great that you mentioned that. Okay, great. Okay, good. What I want to recognize you for the work that you did here. You were very willing and open to explore these issues. You sound also different, less anxious, and I'm glad to hear that you've got that clarity you were looking for. It's also seems that you're going to be better prepared when you get the report to manage that and deal with that in a way that will be more centered, maybe.
Yeah.
And how would you like to wrap up the conversation?
I would like to just acknowledge I don't even know how many minutes that was, but it was quick. And we traveled a lot of ground in that time. And so I think that's testament to the power of coaching. And I just want to acknowledge that.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for working with me and doing this demo so everybody can learn, being willing to play with me here in the space. And I wish you good luck with what you had to offer. It's really unique, different, and it seems that you're getting help, but it's great. You're getting support. You're hiring somebody to help you with that, so you're not alone, and that makes a big difference. So that's great that you can do that. So let's bring everybody back.